else? No? Yes?
Can you just share a little bit of the process, like, of writing the book? You're so busy with your work and your family and everything. How did you manage to put all of this together, and what was the process?
I started writing in a notebook, mostly because after my friend died, I was so sad. And I started writing it like a dissertation, like, what are the types of funks, and what are the causes, and why do we have them, and what's the negative aspect of a funk versus and a positive. And so I outlined in this notebook, and I would take the notebook everywhere. And then I had a lot of self-doubt because I've written a lot of things, and I just put it on a desk and forgot about it. And a friend of mine interviewed me. She writes for Forbes, and I told her about the idea, and she said, why don't you talk to somebody? And the person said, it sounds really good, but I don't know if you could get a book deal. Put it aside for a few more years. And finally, after talking to so many people and hearing all these stories of things people had been through, one in particular, a cousin in our family, my husband's cousin, got staph, and she lost 3 limbs, and then her husband to cancer. So I thought, I gotta share these stories. So the notebook, I started typing it up, and then my friend, I checked back with her, she's like, you gotta do this already. Call my editor. I was like, okay. So I did a proposal in 2017, and then we pitched it, and I felt like I'm not gonna give up, even though people might say, I don't think this is a book. How can we take interviews from a radio show and your thing and make it a book? You gotta believe in your stuff. You gotta believe in yourself. So that's what I did, and I got this deal with Post Hill Press, and the book is distributed by Simon & Schuster, and it just really struck home for so many people. But it was not giving up. And then the process of writing was getting out of my house, any distractions, people, a dog, and going to the library and just writing. And sometimes all I had was an hour, but then that hour turned to 2 hours, and then it became like exercise, like I can't stop. I'm going to the library this evening for 3 hours, and that's all I did. I was obsessed with writing this book till it was done. Yeah.
Quick question? Well, maybe it's not so quick. Do you ever deal with writer's block? And
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it?
You stop writing and you go do something else. Because some of the best ideas I've gotten have been when I'm doing something else. And I mean it. It could be vacuuming, it could be taking those long walks and listening to music. I've gotten the greatest ideas, and then you're pumped. You can go back and you can really crank on something. I write screenplays too. So I would sit in the library and I would meet different people or see different things, and I'd come up with ideas. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
When you're talking about depression and getting in a funk, I was just kind of paralleling that with the recent Kennedy granddaughter.
Yeah.
Bethel Kennedy's granddaughter just committed suicide or died mysteriously. And she always had depression. She was suicidal. They thought maybe she was a Boston University student, I think. And they just can't believe what she did to herself. I mean, what happened to her that she...
Wait, you can't believe or they can't believe?
The whole family, was at the funeral. They were all saddened. And
Did anybody notice anything? I mean, you really have to tune into I talk about this, the nonverbal and the verbal cues. If they're not communicating, trust your gut,
So to stay with her grandmother, and they found her dead at 6 a.m. in the morning, and they can't figure out a party. She went to a party, and then all of a sudden, she had recreational drugs.
Yeah.
She killed herself,
I mean, when I think about depression, there can be a whole equation to factors affecting people's depression. I mean, I talked to my friend's ex-fiance, one of them, and he was like, well, she used to be heavy. And I'm thinking, this is what you're focusing on? That she used to be heavy and now she's skinny? She's a skinny city girl? Like, did you really love her? I mean, nobody really glowed about, how amazing or what, it's strange. So there's a whole, equation to it, And maybe people didn't notice. Maybe people weren't dialed in to her. Maybe she didn't want to share, It's terrible. It's very tragic. Anyway, anybody else?
What do you mean about equation? Use another word. There's no equation, you said?
I'm just using it figuratively, where you think about all the people in somebody's life. If you were to diagram that 22-year-old, who were her friends? What was going on? Did she break up with somebody? There's all these factors that affect somebody. I mean, someone can also be depressed, I'm not saying this girl, from what they eat, if they don't have any kind of outlet from school. School's a lot of pressure.
From the work.
Work,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so many factors, yeah. Anybody else? No? Okay. Did everybody do a raffle? Everybody get a raffle ticket? No, okay.
I'll go ahead and pass this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do, would anybody mind if we do a photo, like we could stand and take a picture of the group?
Oh, a big selfie?
Yeah, we're gonna do a big selfie and then we'll do the signing.